Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Now you all loved my comet cake so much, I thought I'd do the same effect, but this time with cupcakes. This comet cake trend has become huge and I'm obsessed with it, and it is really achievable, but it is a little bit tricky. So hopefully this tutorial will show you exactly how to achieve the effect on some cupcakes. So what I have in front of me is some ready-made American buttercream, which I'll start coloring in a moment, but I've also baked some chocolate cupcakes. Now I have a whole cupcake tutorial on my channel. If you haven't seen it already, go ahead and check it out. But I've also recently launched a new online cupcake course with Liat from Baker Street, and these chocolate cupcakes are the recipe from that. And I've put all the details in the description box below. So it's really important to make sure that your cupcakes are at room temperature before you put any sort of buttercream on. If there's a tiny little bit of heat on there, it's gonna start melting. So I've baked these and let them cool, so I can put these to the side and start coloring my buttercream. So what I've made is my American buttercream, again, tutorial and full recipe on my channel and also on the course. And I've divided it into 3 different bowls because I'm going to color it. Now, American buttercream colors really easily, so I always go in with a toothpick to ensure I only put in a small amount at a time to maintain nice pastel colors. So I'm gonna start off with a pink here, and just with the end of a toothpick, gonna grab some color and put it in the bowl, and then mix it through. So different colors have different intensities, and I can see that I do need a little bit more pink, so I'll add some more pink in here, and keep going until I achieve the shade I want. That's better. There, that's a really nice shade of pink. And I'm gonna color the other bowls now, yellow and turquoise. There, nice pastel colors of buttercream. So like I said, it's always important to go in with a little amount at first of color, because you can always add more but not take away. And really important to always use gel food colorings too. So now I'm going to fill 3 different piping bags, all with a plain round nozzle like this one. And using a cup, I'm going to fill up the piping bag. So I'll go in with the piping tip, open the bag down the sides, and fill up with the lovely colored buttercream that I've just made. Lift up the piping bag and squeeze it while twisting the top so it's ready to pipe. So I've got my buttercream ready in piping bags, and I've actually left one of the bowls that had the buttercream in because I'm going to be putting all the extra to make the black for the black outline. But before we get to that, it's time to decorate the cupcakes. So like I said, the cupcakes are completely cool. So I'll start off with this one, and I want to create a really nice fat swirl on top. And that's why the rounded piping tip comes in handy. If I use a regular 1M, which is a star-shaped tip, then there's too many lines to then go over with the black outline, if that makes sense. The rounded tip is a lot cleaner. So to pipe the spiral, I'm going to twist the piping bag, and all the pressure is going to come from my fingers. So I'm going to start in the middle and work my way to the outside, pushing quite hard, and then coming above, keep swirling, back to the center, and off. And I'm gonna flick it in that direction. Get a perfect little spiral. Oh, I love the color of the buttercream against the dark chocolatey cupcake. I think it looks amazing. It's gonna add to the cartoony effect too. Oh, they look really cute. I'm really happy with the colors as well. They look nice together, which is also an important factor to bear in mind when you're making a box of cupcakes, that all the colors look nice together in the box. Now I've got some leftover buttercream from piping, and it doesn't matter what color you have because we're gonna make it black. So I want to squeeze out all this remaining buttercream into this bowl that I've already used. Doesn't have to be a clean one. And that's ready to become black in a moment. But before that, I just want to finish off these cupcakes with these little glacé cherries, which are the most classic things to top off comet cakes and cupcakes with. And I need to do this while the buttercream is still soft. So that can just sit on the top like that. So now these need to go in the freezer because the buttercream needs to completely harden before doing the black outline. So I'm just going to put them onto here. And I'm going to pop them in the freezer for about 10 minutes. So the cupcakes are in the freezer, getting nice and hard, and now it's time to color all of this buttercream black. So what I can do first is just mix all these colors together. Like I said, it doesn't matter what your base color is because we're going to turn it black anyway. That's actually become a really nice green color. Who knew? I'll probably never be able to get this green color if I tried. Now I've got some black gel food coloring and I'm going to be quite generous with this. So I'm going to go in with quite a big splodge and mix it through. So after mixing through, what you would usually get is a grey buttercream, but we want black. So in order to increase the intensity of the black, what I'm actually going to do is put a small amount in this bowl here, about 2 tablespoons worth, and now actually pop this small amount in the microwave, and the heat actually helps intensify that black color to then add back into here. So I'm going to pop this in the microwave for about 10 seconds, not very long, just to melt it down slightly and then see how the black turns out. So microwave just for 10 seconds leaves you with this much darker, looser buttercream. But the difference is crazy. I didn't have to add any more color, it's just the heat from the microwave. So obviously this buttercream is slightly warm, so I don't want to put it all in just yet because I don't want to melt this buttercream. So I'll go in with about a teaspoon at a time and mix it through. And now I'm using this darker buttercream as the color. Now it really depends on the amount of buttercream you're making, of course. But if this still doesn't go dark enough, then just repeat the process until you're happy with the shade of black. So even though this buttercream has significantly darkened, I'm just going to do the same process again and microwave a small amount to make it just that little bit darker and closer to a shade of black. All right, we got there in the end. So I really like this technique of using the microwave because it avoids you putting in too much coloring. Because some people put in like half a bottle of food coloring, and at the end of the day, you don't want to eat that, and also it will make your teeth black as well. So it's never going to be jet black because at the end of the day, it is buttercream. But the contrast from this to the pastel colors of the buttercream is enough to make sure that this gives that comic cake black outline effect. So black buttercream is done. And now I can fill up another piping bag, but this time with a much smaller round tip. So this is a tip number 3. I find this a really good size to do the outline. And now I can fill up the piping bag like normal. Now you want as little air bubbles as possible, so I make sure that this is really well mixed. And when I fill the piping bag, I take about a spoonful's worth and drag it on the side of the piping bag. And then when I put more on, I keep going on the side to avoid any large air pockets in the piping bag. You don't want an air bubble when it comes to piping that outline. And then take out the piping bag. And even flattening it on the surface also decreases the chances of any air bubbles inside. Now that's ready to go. So the cupcakes have frozen, and I also prepared the same but in vanilla, and I just love seeing all these cupcakes together with the cherries. So now it's time to add that comic 2D effect using the black buttercream. So this really takes patience and a steady hand. So I'm gonna do them one at a time. And the idea is to draw around everywhere where there's a crease and try and get one continuous line. So this is why I do it one by one. So I'm actually going to start at the top and let that buttercream come out and slowly rotate the cupcake around, letting that buttercream fall into the crease between those layers of pink buttercream, all the way to the very bottom. And the great thing that the buttercream is cold, if there's any black that goes onto the colored buttercream, you could just wipe it away and it won't leave a mark. So I can breathe now, I've done that one. I've got 11 more to go, so I'm going to focus on doing all of these lines and then add on a couple more details to make them really cartoon-like. So I'm not actually moving my hand piping, I'm moving the cupcake. I find this a lot easier. So all my right hand is doing is worrying about applying the same pressure all the way through. So if your hand's starting to cramp at this point, it means you're doing something right. I already think they look amazing and they're giving that 2D effect already, but there's a couple more details I want to add. Firstly, I'm going to add an outline over the whole mound of buttercream, including the actual cherry as well, to make it look like a drawing and have the whole cupcake as an outline. So to do this, I'm going to start on one side and just pipe over the top, let it fall on those grooves of buttercream, up where the cherry is, around the cherry and back down the other side. And then also outline the cherry too. So now it looks really 3D with that extra outline. The only thing which you have to bear in mind is that the second you turn the cupcake one way, you obviously see the line from another angle and the effect isn't the same. So just remember, when you're placing the cupcakes in a box or taking a photo of it, make sure that this line is all lined up for the full effect. On to the next one. So that's why it's important to choose the front of where your cupcake is. Oh, these are looking so good. I love these cherries on top too. Now, one final detail which really elevates this comic effect is a little white highlight on each cupcake. Now, it's important that the buttercream is still cold. So if it has softened up, pop all the cupcakes into the freezer one more time for about 5 to 10 minutes, but mine is still quite cold. It's nice and cold at the moment. So I've got some white food coloring here and a small paintbrush. And all I'm simply going to do is dip the paintbrush into the white and almost use it like paint and go over some details in the buttercream and on the cherry. Just a few brushes. And to finish off, because these are so magical, some edible glitter over the top. So there we have our comic cupcakes done. You have to try these out. They are so fun and you could do all sorts of decorations, add sprinkles, do different colors, add different things on top, not just cherries, and I want to see what you create. So be sure to tag me at Georgia's Cakes on Instagram if you do. In the meantime, please subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment below with any other suggestions of tutorials that you want to see. And I hope you enjoyed it and found it helpful, and we'll see you next time.